Hey guys, I'm Landon, and this is just going to be part of my story. So my story starts off very similar to so many other stories that you've already heard. Many that are like involved teen suicide and drug abuse and just intense amounts of depression, but for some reason my story is different. You see, I was never really that cool in school. I'm not really that popular. I was good at sports. I was had decent marks, but like I never fit in for some reason. I still don't know why. To this day, it still just baffles me why kids would go through that much pain to make me feel pain. It was awful. I was bullied, I was bruised, I was just put down every single day of the week, day after day after day after day, and there was like no hope ever until I found youth group. Now for your non-religious folk out there, don't get all freaky on me, because I mean, that's what's happened. That's what saved me. That's why I'm still actually here today. I honestly believe that I would have been one of those kids to commit suicide or shoot the school just because there was so much emotional there was just a massive emotional disaster in me, and I could not fix that, and I didn't know how to fix that. Let it out. I had no social skills, to be honest. I had nothing. So I essentially divided into two parts. I became youth group Landon and school Landon. Youth group Landon was a lot cooler. School Landon, well, I had to put on my armor on. I didn't speak. I didn't do anything to avoid any type of contact with human beings that would lead to emotional abuse or any problems that I would have to deal with, but they happened anyway, all the time. That was really poorly phrased. Life sucked. But man, youth group was great. The people actually cared for me there. There was just something different. Even though I wasn't like your typical youth group kid or your normal kid in general, they actually seemed to care about me. The leaders would actually come to me and ask me questions about my life instead of me having to go and feel all needy child emotional kid and go up to them and ask questions. They actually cared. Something that I don't think I'd experienced in that style before. It was pretty amazing. But nonetheless, school Landon existed, and I wasn't able to really incorporate the two. They're two almost completely separate entities, and I almost became some type of split personality. And as much as I was trying to be like that Christian kid at school and that nice kid, it just didn't work because I was compromising on certain things, and I was trying to be cool, but it didn't work, and I was trying to fit in, but it didn't work, and I was just trying to get avoided, and it just did not work. Nothing was working. It all built up, and I had a massive amount of anger and hurt in me, and most of it turned to anger and hate towards about one kid specifically, maybe two or three in general, but this one kid who just kept at it, and it was awful. It was the anger and the hurt that kept it going, and I just could not let go. Never ever let go. And you must all be like, Landon, what are you letting go of? And I'm saying I wouldn't let go of my anger towards him, because if I'd let that go, then I wouldn't have had to be hurt. You see? Kind of makes sense. Then one day something happened. I went to a summer camp. I was actually working there as a counselor at a Christian camp for my second year in a row. And it was all cool. I loved the kids. I loved learning. I was actually able to be youth group Landon. So it was like 2 month long youth group. And I'm like, woo! But the problem was I couldn't keep school Landon away from there. Because that part of me was still there. And I couldn't let go of it. I couldn't let go of the anger, the guilt, and all that other crap that went along with that. It was still with me. And it would build up at certain moments, such as one night. I didn't have the best kids in my cabin. They didn't tend to like to listen to me, which is normal for kids at camp. Nonetheless, one night I completely lost it on them, and I just screamed in the cabin, and I just got out. I had to leave. I left. And then outside there was two other counselors just chilling there because I guess they were having bad nights too. I can't really remember why they were there. But they're awesome. And then they just started talking to me. And they started talking to me, but it was different. Instead of focusing on the immediate problem, the fact that I had lost it on some kids, they actually seemed to care why I was like that in the first place, and they asked me questions, and I vented. I vented about some things that I'm not really proud of doing, and I didn't really tell anybody at all. And then we went into a room because it was getting cold outside, because it was like northern Alberta. It's so cold up there, people. And one man started speaking to me. And he started saying things that were just beyond what he knew about. He somehow read into my life about things that he never actually heard me say before. And he just said the right things to try to get me to let go of that anger and guilt. Well, the other guy, he was just sitting in a corner praying, which was, to me, weird. But I think that's kind of what made this like double as powerful as what actually would have happened if he hadn't been there. But school Landon still held on. Didn't want to let go of that anger and that guilt and that hurt and stuff, because I mean, I've had it for so long. What would replace it? The guy who was talking the entire night was actually, the essential meaning of his message was to forgive the guy who had led the bullying against me. What? So on the outside I'm like, yeah, sure, that sounds like a good idea. And then on the inside I'm all like, How the fuck am I supposed to do that? Sorry, church friends. But that's what was going on. So meanwhile, there's youth group Landon who wanted to let go, and school Landon who didn't want to let go, and then everything was getting intermeshed and freaking out, and I felt like I was like tearing apart, and I didn't know what to do, and I finally cried out, God, help me. And then he did. At that moment, I was actually able to let go of my anger and my hate and my guilt and all that other stuff that went along with it. And then something else happened. Something rushed into me at the same time as those things left. See, it wasn't like I was empty. I was filled even more with something powerful that I really can't explain that well. I mean, the counselors called it the Holy Spirit. But at that moment was the most freeing moment of my life. I didn't have anger and guilt, and I actually forgave the asshole who made fun of me and made my life a living hell for 2 years, but I did it. And it was amazing, because for the first time in my life there, I'd actually experienced what it's like to love somebody despite what they've done, to want the best for somebody even though they want the worst for you. And even though that's the hardest thing to do, it is the most freeing moment of your life, and it actually releases you of all the things that happen, so I don't have to use the hate to get me somewhere. I use the love to get me somewhere, which is so much more powerful. Like, it wasn't really me who forgave him, it was this Holy Spirit God thing that rushed in and forgave him, did it for me, and then at the same time destroyed and completely owned School Landon. School Landon doesn't exist anymore. I can just be the person I actually like, the person I want to be. Heck, now I'm so much more than what I thought I could ever be, because I have this power, this love, this Jesus in me that I don't really get, and I don't like how it's portrayed so lame now, but that's what it is, and it's amazing. And legit, people, it stops you from the hurt that comes along with abuse, with getting raped, with getting beaten, with all these awful things that happen to people in our lives that nobody really wants to talk about because it hurts. But this gets rid of it by addressing the problem and then breaking it off by something more powerful than us, because we can't do it. We can't do it. This Holy Spirit God thing is more awesome than the most awesome thing you can ever dream of, and then your priorities change, and everything just changes, and everything just becomes more awesome and fulfilling and true and hopeful. And no matter what happens in this life, no matter what kind of earthquakes and problems and people and what they do, I always have this hope, this thing inside of me. And then what else can I do but try to like pass it on to you guys, right? Like, how can I not want you guys to experience the same thing? And I totally didn't do anything to deserve this thing, so I mean, I don't really care what you've done or what had been happening to you. I'm determined this can help you. And I mean, hopefully if this happens to everybody, then we can avoid the whole awful life sucks stage in the first place, and we can just go straight to hope and love and betterness and everything. Anyway, that's just my hope. I'd really love to see no more bullying in schools and life, and basically I'd love life with no problems at all, and I'm pretty sure this is how it can happen. Seriously, guys, whatever you're going through, whatever's going on, I'm determined that this power, this thing, this entity we call Jesus, Holy Spirit, or God, can help you through whatever is going through whatever happens in any situation. There's always hope. I guarantee it. There's always hope. Never forget that, guys. God's always there for you. Sounds cheesy, I know. And us Christians, well, I hope we're there for you, because we're supposed to be. Youth groups are pretty killer. I'd try one. Just throwing it out there. And that's pretty much all I had to say today. So there's your little shot of hope. My name's Landon, and this is something different.